big thank you to AliExpress for sponsoring this video. They're having a huge anniversary sale through March 27th where you can get some awesome deals on video cards. More on that later. Enjoy the video. I'm always on the hunt for cheap video cards. So when I saw a brand new 8GB video card for only $170, I was floored. And I immediately bought it. Naturally, of course. The card is the Intel Arc A580. And after spending about a month getting to know it intimately, I recommend it for certain budget gamers. On paper, the card checks off almost every single box. 8 gigs of VRAM, no memory limitations, and even works with lower end power supplies. It even has some extra goodies as well, like ray tracing and AV1 hardware encoding and decoding. But these all come at a cost. Firstly, your CPU and your motherboard must support resizable bar to use this video card at its full potential. Finding the right hardware that fully supports this feature can be confusing, so I linked a full list of compatible CPU and motherboards in the description. Secondly, the A580 consumes considerably more energy than any other video card in its price range. It's 100 watts more than the $200 RX 6600 actually. Intel software also doesn't have undervolting, only a power limit slider, so you just kinda have to suck it up. Lastly, Intel drivers still have some maturing to do. The A580 has high driver overhead in some games, meaning that it performs considerably worse than expected when paired with a weaker budget processor. We'll dive deeper into that later in the video. But if you're okay with these caveats, then congratulations, you might be one of the people that can benefit from this card. Let's take a look at performance. I wanted to see how well the A580 worked with lower end processors, so I paired it with the budget 6-core Ryzen 5 3500X processor, 16 gigs of DDR4 3200MHz RAM, and a 512 gig NVMe SSD. Everything was housed inside the Thermaltake H18 case. At 1080p, the A580 wasn't far behind the $200 RX 6600. I used medium settings in New World and the card averaged 80 FPS. It only dropped when we entered the city center, but that's because we're using a slower CPU. I used low settings and a far view distance in Fortnite, and the A580 averaged 158 FPS. It was a little choppier than I liked, but it was still enjoyable and fine for casual play. With an average of 250 FPS, the A580 breezed through Rainbow Six Siege at very high settings, and it actually beat the RX 6600, which is very impressive. If any of you were wondering, the A580 can totally pull off high refresh rate gaming in certain esports titles. So far, things are looking great for the A580, but it started taking a weird turn in heavier titles. In the previous games, the RX 6600 was only 6% faster on average, but in Cyberpunk 2077, using medium settings and FSR upscaling, the RX 6600 was 52% faster. In Hogwarts Legacy, at medium settings with FSR upscaling, the RX 6600 was 94% faster. What is going on? I tried using Intel's upscaling technology, XeSS or whatever it's called, but that did not fix the problem. So that's when I bit the bullet and I picked up two faster processors, the Ryzen 5 3600 and the Ryzen 5 5600X. Perhaps this is just a CPU bottleneck and the Intel card is way more sensitive than the AMD one. And to a certain degree, that was correct. I saw about a 5% uplift in Cyberpunk and an 8% uplift in Hogwarts Legacy when I upgraded the processor to the Ryzen 5 3600. But I saw an incredible improvement after upgrading to the 5600X. The A580 was 63% faster in Hogwarts Legacy and 45% faster in Cyberpunk with the 5600X processor instead of the 3500X processor. Its performance now lines up more cleanly with expectations. The other games followed suit. The 3600 improved the A580's performance by up to 20%, and the 5600X by even more depending on the game. The improvement was not as dramatic with the RX 6600, which I believe means that Intel still needs to optimize their drivers. They have high CPU overhead. Once we aggregate all the data, we see that the 6600 is about 16% faster across all the CPUs and all the games I tested, but about 20% more expensive. Both cards offer practically the same value, so you can't go wrong with either one, the ARC A580 from Intel or the RX 6600 from AMD. When ARC cards work, they work really well, and they punch above their weight class. But there are occasional hiccups which can really make or break an experience, depending on the games that you play. If you don't mind that occasional hiccup, then I totally recommend the ARC A580. I think Intel has matured their drivers enough to where it's stable enough for new builders and more experienced builders alike. But also consider the RX 6600. For another $30 maybe, you get a more mature card, a technically faster card, and a less power-hungry card. It may not be great for Intel, but competition is great for us consumers. There are still previous generation video card alternatives that I recommend as well, like the RTX 2060 Super and the RX 5700 XT. Both of these cards have similar performance, similar power consumption, similar features, and through the sponsor of this video, AliExpress, they're actually a little bit cheaper than the ARC A580 as well. AliExpress's anniversary sale runs from March 18th through March 27th. And to celebrate, they're giving us some coupon codes to save a little bit of money on our purchases. They're offering $20 off all orders over $100 with the coupon ALLONAE and $10 off orders over $50 with the coupon code WOW328. Their slogan, "Better Choice, Better Prices," really speaks for itself. You save $20 on highly rated video cards like the 5700 XT and the 2060 Super during this anniversary sale. I've used these cards extensively and I fully back behind them. They're mostly new cards, they have a warranty, and they can play games ranging from esports like Rainbow Six Siege all the way to AAA titles like Cyberpunk. And on a personal note, I use AliExpress a lot. My last $300 PC build on the channel just back in December used parts from AliExpress. So thank you so much, AliExpress, for sponsoring this video. Go check them out. All the links and the details would be in the description. I expected this to be a pretty short video where I just test the games, but all of the games testing has led to so many other questions that I have. So I do want to cover ray tracing, compare it to the now RTX 3050 6GB, see how it performs with other CPUs, maybe try out other budget builds, and then see if the unofficial rebar driver actually works. Lots of things. So if you guys are interested and you want to see more ARC A580 content, let me know. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.